are hot around the Minnesota Vikings as reports are coming out that they may have already sent an offer to the New England Patriots to acquire the third pick in this upcoming year's NFL draft. We have heard countless reports from multiple NFL insiders, and now we have a report saying that the Vikings may have already an offer on the table. My name is Patrick Seatman. Welcome in the Vikings Now by Chat Sports. We'll get into that report here in a second, but I'm actually asking for you guys' help before we dive into today's show. If you guys could share this video on Twitter or X, whatever you guys want to call it, if you guys click the share button and select the X icon or Twitter and then click post to Twitter and you tag me at Pat Seeps, I'll toss you guys a retweet and I'll give you guys a shout out on a future show. I want to say thank you to all the support we have gotten on the channel as of lately, but I'm not stopping there. I want to get this channel out to more and more Vikings fans. So if you guys could help me out, share it with your Twitter following, I would really, really appreciate it. Let's kick it to Austin F. or Bad Takes Fugis, I think it's how you say it, but he tweeted this out yesterday and he says, was just told the Vikings have an offer out for the Patriots' number 3 overall pick that includes 2 first-rounders. We'll dive into who this guy is here in a second, but then he did quote tweet that and said the Patriots have a lot of interest in Malik Nabers, obviously one of the top receivers in this year's draft class. So I started connecting some dots here. I really do think a trade could be coming our way between the Vikings and the Patriots. But you guys might be asking yourself, well, is this a credible source, Patrick? Listen, he's not an NFL insider, but I do think there's some validity to his tweets because he does have a lot of connections in league circles, and he had scoops all throughout free agency before of a lot of the top reporters such as Tom Pelissero, Adam Schefter had them. He actually called the Baker Mayfield signing and that extension 3 days before any of the bigwigs got there. So yes, is he not a true NFL insider? No. But does he have some validity to what he's saying? I definitely do think so. But I want to start off today's show before we look at what a Patriots-Vikings trade could look like. Let's go back in time a little bit and let's look at some of the past blockbuster draft day trades when teams were trading up to go land their quarterback. And we're actually going to start it off here with current Vikings quarterback Sam Darnold back in 2018 when the New York Jets traded up with the Indianapolis Colts. The Jets were originally selecting 6 in that draft. They traded up to 3. And what did it take to move up 3 spots? Obviously took that first-round pick, but it took 2 2018 second-round picks, so that same draft class, and a 2019 second-round pick, so no first-round pick included. We kick it to now Carson Wentz with the Philadelphia Eagles. When the Eagles wanted to trade up from number 8 to number 2, they had to give up an additional 2016 third and fourth round pick, a 2017 first round pick, and a 2017 fourth round pick. Now let's kick it back to Washington when they were selecting RG3 and they wanted to move up from 6 to number 2. They had to give up an absolute haul. They had to give up a 2012 second round pick and then 2 future first round picks to go land RG3. Also, crazy little note here: the Commanders selected RG3 number 2. They also selected Kirk Cousins in the 4th round. Still one of the best drafts from the quarterback position we have ever seen. But let's go look at what the Vikings draft picks look like right now. We obviously do know they did trade with the Houston Texans to land that 23rd overall pick, but they still have 2 fourths and 2 fifths and a 6th round pick and a 7th round pick. So they definitely still have some draft capital to move up in this year's class. And this was the trade I cooked up. And a lot of you guys may hit the panic button. You guys may be sounding the alarms here saying, this is way, way, way too much, Patrick. Why would we ever do this? It's the QB tax. You would be trading up and getting your guy. And I think this is what a deal could look like. It would be obviously the Vikings giving up number 11, number 23, and then also next year's first round pick. And I think on top of that, you're going to have to throw in the 3rd round pick. Before we dive into more around this, I want to get your guys' thoughts here on the show before anything else. Would you accept this trade? Hey, if you're a Patriots fan watching this video, let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section as well. Type A for accept or type D for decline. If I'm the Vikings and I see this deal come through, I am clicking accept on this deal because you do whatever it takes to go get your quarterback, especially if you believe if Drake May, Jaden Daniels, J.J. McCarthy are true franchise quarterbacks. Do whatever it takes, send them 3 first-rounders and additional 3rd, and I think it gets it done. But you may be asking yourself, why would the Patriots ever decide to trade off that 3rd pick? They don't have a quarterback. All they have is Jacoby Brissett right now. Why would the Patriots want to do that? Well, there is a serious interest at the wide receiver position for New England. Because if we take a look at who they have on their depth chart right now, shout out to KJ Osborne, wide receiver 2, Vikings legend, but they got Kendrick Bourne, Demario Douglas. They got Juju Smith-Schuster, also another Vikings legend, Jalen Reagor, but they don't really have a true wide receiver 1. They honestly, in my opinion, have a bunch of wide receiver 3s. And then we also got this tweet a long time ago from Josina Anderson from March 13th, as she said the Patriots will mainly turn their attention to the draft to address wide receiver. I'm told they've moved on, which is incredibly interesting. And this year's draft class is loaded with wide receiver talent. You got guys like Marvin Harrison Jr. You got guys like Malik Neighbors as well. Like, you got a ton of different talent at that wide receiver spot in this draft. And, listen, I think, the Patriots could maybe trade down, 211 and get one of these guys, like maybe a Keon Coleman or a Brian Thomas they really do like. But the Patriots would need, most likely if they wanted to go get Rome or Malik Neighbors, which they obviously have shown interest in, they would probably need to trade back up into this into this year's draft. But there's definitely a need for the Patriots at the wide receiver position. And this is my take. If the Vikings are going to want to trade up with the Patriots, there is no doubt Minnesota is going to have to send them an offer they cannot refuse. I still believe New England, their number one plan this upcoming draft is to take that quarterback. So you got to make them question that decision. Maybe they're sitting there saying, oh, we like Drake May, we like J.J. McCarthy, we like Jaden Daniels, but we don't love any of them. So if the Vikings send them 3 first-rounders and an additional third-round pick, I bet you New England starts thinking about that, and maybe they are looking at this board and saying, maybe we could get a couple good playmakers at 11 and 23 and then have future draft capital on top of that. Just something to keep your guys' out on. But if the Vikings do end up trading up to number 3, I got to get your guys' thoughts on this. Would you rather have the Vikings take J.J. McCarthy, or would you rather have the Vikings take Drake May? Type JJ for J.J. McCarthy or type DM for Drake May. Let me know your thoughts down below. I'm pretty torn on this, but if I had to pick one, I'm still going Drake May. I think Drake May in the Vikings system, I think he would excel. And I think Kevin O'Connell would do a great job of kind of sandpapering his game. In terms of max potential in this year's draft class, I really do believe Caleb Williams is 1, and then Drake May's 2. He comes from that Josh Allen, Justin Herbert type of build where he can touch every blade of grass on the football field, but he just needs somebody to kind of hone in his game, and I think the Vikings would do a great job of doing that. Because if you look at the support system, Minnesota could offer a young quarterback. You're going to be able to throw to the best wide receiver in the National Football League in Justin Jefferson. You also have Jordan Addison coming off a 900-yard season with 10 touchdowns, and he had Nick Mullins and Josh Dobbs throwing him the football. TJ Hawkinson will be back around November. Obviously, did go down with a season-ending knee surgery, but then also Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones should be able to give a young quarterback another, just a overall good support system, to obviously help him develop his game. And then obviously Kevin O'Connell, the biggest piece of the pie here in terms of grooming a young quarterback. But I do want to get to this quote from Colin Cowherd. He was talking about his quarterback rankings, and then he tied it back into Minnesota potentially trading up for a quarterback. He says, outside of Caleb Williams, who I think has the unique talent to thrive wherever he's drafted, the second most successful QB in this draft will be whoever Kevin O'Connell of the Vikings land. That's my official QB bet of the draft, and I totally agree. And I do think, with what we've been hearing, there's been a lot of buzz, a lot of reports coming from, Vikings beat reporters that are very tied into this team. It looks like the Vikings front office and the Vikings brass is reported to be all in on Drake May. And I think the Vikings have a deal out there right now to the New England Patriots, but that's not their best deal. I think they still have another deal kind of in their hip pocket that they could send to New England where it would be give them an offer that they legitimately cannot refuse. I think Drake May or J.J. McCarthy will be a Viking here once draft time rolls around. It's just a very, very exciting time here on the channel. So really do appreciate you guys kind of staying with me and all these kind of different rumors we've been getting, man. It's really been all over the place. But again, I really want to help. I really am asking for you guys to, help me out on today's show. Help us grow this channel. If you guys haven't already, share this video on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, or share it to a friend, whatever it may be. I would really appreciate it. But also, guys, if we get any more reports, any more news dumps around the Minnesota Vikings and them trading up in this year's upcoming draft, we will have a video for you guys ASAP. And also, we're going live on the channel later on today. So make sure you guys subscribe, turn on your notifications, and stay tuned for more around Minnesota. And as always, Skol Vikes.